The sky above 7 was the color of blood. Red clouds hung low over the burned land, and the air smelled like fire and death. This planet had once been beautiful. Green forests had covered its surface. Clean rivers had flowed through its valleys, but 3 years of war had turned it into a graveyard. Commander stood on a small hill and looked at the destruction below her. Bodies of her soldiers lay scattered across the black ground. Broken weapons and damaged war machines were everywhere. Just 1 hour ago, she had commanded 500 of the best warriors in the Empire. Now, less than 50 remained alive. She was tall even for her skin was pale blue and her eyes were silver like 2 small moons. Long white hair fell down her back, tied with golden rings that showed her rank. She wore armor made from the bones of great beasts, and in her hand she held a plasma blade that glowed bright orange. She had killed over 1,000 enemies with that blade. She had never lost a battle. Until today. "Commander," said one of her officers. His name was and his voice was shaking. "We need to retreat. We cannot win this fight." Did not answer. She was staring at the smoke rising from the valley below. Somewhere in that smoke was the enemy. One enemy. Just one human soldier had done all of this. The Empire had been conquering planets for 10,000 years. They had destroyed hundreds of civilizations. They had never found a species that could truly fight back. When they first arrived at Earth, they thought it would be easy. Humans were small and weak. They had no natural weapons. Their bodies were soft and broke easily. They had laughed at them. They were not laughing anymore. The war had started 3 years ago. At first, they won every battle. Their ships were faster, their weapons were stronger, and their soldiers were bigger and more powerful. But the humans did not give up. They did not surrender. They kept fighting even when they had no chance of winning. And slowly something changed. The humans learned. They adapted. They created new weapons and new tactics. They found ways to hurt them that no one had ever thought of before. And then came the soldiers in black armor. Had heard stories about these soldiers. They were called many names. Some called them Death Walkers. Others called them the Black Ones. But the name that made even brave warriors feel afraid was Iron Ghosts. No one knew how many Iron Ghosts existed. Some said there were thousands. Others said there were only a few dozen. But everyone agreed on one thing: they were not normal humans. They could not be. Normal humans could not do what they did. The Iron Ghost that had attacked battalion had appeared from nowhere. One moment the army was marching through the valley. The next moment, explosions were going off everywhere. Soldiers were falling. War machines were burning. And in the middle of all the chaos was a figure in black armor, moving faster than any human should be able to move. Had watched her best warriors charge at this enemy. She had watched them die. The Iron Ghost's armor was covered in scratches and burns, but he never fell. He never stopped. He killed and killed and killed until the ground was covered with blood. "Commander," said again, "please, we must go." "No," said, her voice was calm and cold. "I will not run from one human." "But Commander, this is not a normal human. The stories say that Iron Ghosts are machines. They say humans put their brains into metal bodies. They say." "I do not care what the stories say," turned to look at. Her silver eyes were burning with anger. "I am of House Korras. I have conquered 12 worlds. I have killed enemies that would make this human look like a child. I will not run." She looked back at the smoke. The Iron Ghost was still down there. She could feel him. He was waiting. "Send a message," she said. "Send it on all frequencies so the human can hear." "What message, Commander?" Smiled. It was not a nice smile. "Tell him that Commander of the Elite Guard challenges him to single combat. Tell him that if he is brave enough to face me alone, I will be waiting on this hill." Looked scared. "Commander, single combat it is an old tradition. We have not used it in centuries." "The humans love old traditions," said. "They write stories about brave warriors fighting alone against great enemies. They sing songs about heroes who stand and fight when others run away. This human has been fighting alone against hundreds of us. He must believe he is one of those heroes." She laughed softly. "Let us see if his honor is as strong as his armor." The message was sent, then they waited. The red sun of 7 moved slowly across the bloody sky, stood perfectly still, like a statue made of blue stone. Her soldiers gathered behind her, too afraid to speak. They all watched the smoke in the valley. 1 hour passed, then 2. Some of the soldiers began to whisper that the human had run away. Maybe he was not so brave after all. Maybe the iron ghosts were cowards who only attacked when they had the advantage. Then saw movement. A figure appeared from the smoke. It walked slowly up the hill toward them. Black armor covered every part of its body. The armor was dented and burned in many places, but it still looked strong. The figure carried a large rifle in its hands, and several other weapons hung from its belt. Felt her heart beat faster, not from fear, from excitement. This was the enemy that had destroyed her army. This was the Iron Ghost. And now, finally, she would face him. She would show him what a true warrior could do. She would take off his helmet and look into his dying eyes. She would make him understand that humans could never defeat the Empire. The Iron Ghost stopped about 20 steps away from her. He did not speak. He did not move. He just stood there, silent and still, like death itself waiting to happen. Raised her plasma blade. The orange light reflected off her silver eyes. "I am of House Korras," she said loudly. "I have killed 1,000 enemies with this blade. I have never been defeated in single combat. Today, human, you will die by my hand, but I will give you an honorable death. I will remember your courage. I will tell stories of how bravely you fought. That is more than any human deserves." The Iron Ghost did not respond. He simply raised his rifle and aimed it at her heart. The battle was about to begin. The first shot came fast, moved even faster. She twisted her body to the side, and the bullet passed by her head so close that she felt the heat on her cheek. Before the Iron Ghost could fire again, she was running toward him. Her legs pushed hard against the ground, and she covered the distance between them in less than 2 seconds. Her plasma blade cut through the air toward his neck. It should have been a killing blow. Any normal enemy would have died right there. But the Iron Ghost was not normal. He dropped his rifle and raised both arms to block her attack. The blade hit his armored forearms and sparks flew everywhere. The force of the impact pushed him back 3 steps, but he did not fall. He did not even make a sound. Attacked again. She swung her blade left, then right, then down toward his head. Each strike was fast and powerful. Each strike had killed enemies before, but the Iron Ghost blocked every single one. His movements were not elegant or beautiful like hers. They were simple and direct. He moved only as much as he needed to. He wasted nothing. The soldiers watching from the hill could not believe what they were seeing. They had watched their commander fight many times before. They had seen her cut through enemy warriors like they were made of paper. But this human was matching her blow for blow. "Impossible," whispered. "How can a human be so fast?" No one had an answer. Jumped back and took a moment to breathe. Her arms were starting to feel tired. That had never happened before, not this quickly. She looked at the Iron Ghost. He was standing in the same position as before. His rifle lay on the ground between them. He had not tried to pick it up. He had not tried to use any of his other weapons. He was fighting her with nothing but his armored fists. "You are good," said. She was surprised to find that she meant it. "Better than any human I have faced before, but you are still just a human. You will get tired. You will make a mistake. And when you do, I will kill you." The Iron Ghost said nothing. He simply raised his fists and waited. Attacked again. This time she was smarter. She did not try to overpower him with strength. Instead, she used her speed and skill. She moved around him in circles, striking from different angles. She aimed for the weak points in his armor, the joints, the neck, the backs of his knees. The Iron Ghost defended himself well, but she was landing hits now. Her blade cut through the armor on his left arm. It sliced across his chest, leaving a long black mark. It hit his helmet so hard that he stumbled backward. But still he did not fall, and still he did not make a sound. Was breathing hard now. Sweat was running down her blue face. She had been fighting for almost 10 minutes without stopping. That was longer than any fight she had ever had. Usually, her enemies were dead within the first minute. The Iron Ghost was hurt. She could see it in the way he moved. His left arm was slower now. There was a small crack in his chest armor where dark liquid was leaking out. Blood. Human blood. He was not a machine after all. "You are dying," said. "I can see it. Every minute you fight, you lose more blood. Why do you not surrender? I will give you a quick death. That is more mercy than your kind has ever shown us." For the first time, the Iron Ghost spoke. His voice came through his helmet, changed by machines to sound deep and cold. "Mercy," he said. "You invaded our planet, you killed our families, you burned our cities, and you want to talk about mercy." His voice was calm. There was no anger in it, no fear, just a simple statement of facts. Felt something she had not felt in a very long time. She was not sure what to call it. It was not quite shame. It was not quite doubt, but it was something close. She pushed the feeling away. This was war. In war, there was no room for such feelings. "Your planet was in our path," she said. "The Empire does not go around obstacles. We go through them. That is how we have ruled the galaxy for 10,000 years. That is how we will rule it for 10,000 more." The Iron Ghost tilted his head slightly. "You are very sure of that?" "I am." "Then let me show you something." He moved. He was faster than he had been before. Tried to block, but she was too slow. His armored fist hit her in the stomach so hard that she flew backward through the air. She landed on her back 5 meters away, gasping for breath. Her soldiers shouted and started to run toward her, but she held up her hand to stop them. "Stay back," she commanded. "This is my fight." She got back on her feet. Her stomach was in terrible pain. She might have broken ribs, but she could still fight. She would always fight. The Iron Ghost was walking toward her now. His steps were slow and heavy. He picked up his rifle from the ground but did not aim it at her. Instead, he threw it to the side. "No weapons," he said. "Just you and me. Let us finish this the old way." Understood. He wanted to fight hand to hand. No plasma blade, no guns, just flesh against flesh. Or in his case, armor against flesh. It was a trap. She knew it was a trap. Without her blade, she was at a disadvantage. His armor would protect him from her fists, but she had no protection against his. But she could not refuse. Her honor would not let her. She had challenged him to single combat. She had spoken of ancient traditions and brave warriors. If she refused to fight him fairly now, she would be nothing but a hypocrite. She threw her plasma blade to the ground. "Very well, human, let us finish this." They came together like two storms meeting, was faster and more skilled. She hit him many times in the chest, in the helmet, in the arms, but her fists could not break through his armor. Each hit hurt her hands more than it hurt him. The Iron Ghost hit her only 3 times, but each hit was devastating. The first broke her nose. The second cracked her jaw. The third sent her crashing to the ground, unable to get up. She lay on the burned earth looking up at the red sky. Blood was pouring from her face. Her body was broken. She had lost. The Iron Ghost stood over her. His shadow blocked out the sun. He looked down at her for a long moment. "Kill me," said. Her voice was weak but proud. "Kill me and finish it. I will not beg." The Iron Ghost reached down and picked up her plasma blade. He held it in his armored hand, looking at the orange light. Then he turned it off and dropped it beside her. "I did not come here to kill you," he said. "Did not understand, what?" "I came here to stop you, to stop your army from reaching the human colony on the other side of this planet. I have done that. Your soldiers are dead or broken. They will not fight again today. Then why not kill me? I am your enemy. I have killed your people. I will kill more if you let me live." The Iron Ghost was silent for a moment. Then he said something that would remember for the rest of her life. "Because killing you would not bring back the people you have killed. It would only add one more death to a war that has already taken too many lives. I am tired of death. I am tired of war. And looking at you now, broken and bleeding on the ground, I think maybe you are tired too." He turned and started to walk away. "Wait," called out. She tried to move, but her body would not obey. "Wait, you cannot just leave. You beat me. You have to. You have to." The Iron Ghost stopped. He looked back at her over his shoulder. "I have to what? Take your head as a trophy, burn your body. Is that what your people do?" Did not answer. Yes, that was exactly what her people did. "We are different," the Iron Ghost said. "That is why you will never truly defeat us. You can kill us. You can burn our planets. You can destroy everything we have built, but you will never break us. Because we fight for something more than power. We fight for something more than glory." "What do you fight for?" asked. The Iron Ghost turned fully to face her. The red sun was behind him now, making his black armor look like a shadow against the light. "I will show you," he said. "If you really want to know, but you will have to ask me properly. You will have to ask me to show you my face." Felt her heart beat faster. Show his face. Remove his armor, see what was underneath. "Show me," she whispered. "Please, show me who you really are." The Iron Ghost stood still for a long moment. The wind blew across the battlefield, carrying the smell of smoke and death. The soldiers on the hill watched in complete silence. No one moved. No one breathed. Everyone was waiting. Slowly, the Iron Ghost raised his hands to his helmet. There was a soft hissing sound as the seals released. The helmet split apart at the sides, and he lifted it off his head. Forgot how to breathe. She had expected many things. She had expected a monster. She had expected a machine with cold metal eyes. She had expected someone huge and terrifying, someone whose face would match the fear his name brought to hearts. What she saw was a boy. He could not have been more than 20 years old. His face was thin and tired. Dark circles surrounded his eyes like bruises. His black hair was wet with sweat and stuck to his forehead. There was a long scar running down the left side of his face from his eyebrow to his jaw. His eyes were dark brown, the color of earth after rain. He was not big. He was not terrifying. He was just a young man who looked like he had not slept in weeks. Opened her mouth, but no words came out. She tried again. Nothing. Her voice had disappeared. Her mind was empty. Everything she thought she knew about humans, about Iron Ghosts, about this war, all of it was falling apart. This was impossible. This small, tired boy could not be the Iron Ghost. He could not be the soldier who had killed 500 of her best warriors. He could not be the monster that made soldiers wake up screaming in the night. But he was. The armor was right there. The weapons were right there. And his eyes, his dark, exhausted eyes, held a weight that no young person should have to carry. "My name is Ho," he said. His voice was different now without the helmet changing it. It was soft and quiet. It was the voice of someone who was very, very tired. "I am 21 years old. I am a soldier of the Earth Defense Force, and I am the one who killed your army today." Finally found her voice. It came out as a whisper. "How?" Ho smiled. It was a sad smile, the kind of smile that people give when they have seen too much pain. That is always the first question your people ask. How? How can humans do what we do? How can we fight like this? How can we win? He started to remove his armor. Piece by piece, he took it off and let it fall to the ground. The chest plate, the arm guards, the leg armor, each piece landed with a heavy thud. Underneath, he wore a simple black suit. It was torn in several places and could see bandages wrapped around his body. The bandages were red with blood, some old, some fresh. His arms were thin but covered with muscle. His body was covered with scars, more scars than she could count. He was not a machine. He had no cybernetic enhancements. He was just flesh and bone and blood like any other human. "There is no secret," Ho said. "No special technology, no genetic modifications, just training, years and years of training, learning to push past pain, learning to keep fighting when your body wants to stop, learning to be afraid but act anyway." He sat down on a rock near. He looked tired enough to fall asleep right there on the battlefield. But his eyes stayed on her, watching her reaction. "Your people have been asking the wrong question," he continued. "You keep asking how. You should be asking why." Was still struggling to understand. This boy had destroyed her army. This thin, exhausted boy had killed warriors who were twice his size and 10 times his strength. It did not make sense. Nothing made sense anymore. "Why?" she finally asked. Her voice was shaking. She was not sure if it was from her injuries or from something else. Ho looked up at the red sky. His eyes became distant, like he was seeing something far away. "I had a little sister," he said. She was 12 years old when your ships first came to Earth. She liked to draw pictures. She wanted to be an artist when she grew up. She used to draw pictures of flowers and birds and happy families." His voice stayed calm and steady, but could hear the pain underneath it. "When your army attacked our city and I hid in the basement of our building, we could hear the explosions above us. We could hear people screaming. I held her hand and told her everything would be okay. I told her I would protect her." He paused, his jaw tightened. "I lied." Felt something cold spread through her chest. She knew what was coming. She did not want to hear it, but she could not look away from his face. "The building collapsed. I was buried under the rocks for 3 days before rescue teams found me. I had a broken arm, 4 broken ribs, and a piece of metal in my leg, but I survived." His voice dropped to almost nothing. "Did not." The wind blew across the battlefield. Somewhere in the distance, a piece of broken metal fell over with a loud clang. "That is why I fight," Ho said. "Not for revenge, not for hatred, but because there are other little sisters out there. Other children who like to draw pictures and dream about the future. I fight so that they can have a chance to grow up. I fight so that no one else has to lose what I lost." Could not speak. For the first time in her long life, she had no words. Her people did not think about the enemies they killed. They were just numbers, obstacles, things to be destroyed on the path to victory. She had never thought about the families left behind. She had never thought about the children who would never grow up because of her actions. But looking at Ho now, looking at this young man with his tired eyes and his body and his broken heart, she could not ignore it anymore. "You think I am a monster," Ho said. "It was not a question. Your soldiers call me Iron Ghost. They tell stories about how I am not really human, how I must be some kind of machine or demon." He stood up slowly. His body swayed a little and realized he was barely able to stay on his feet. The fight had cost him more than he was showing. "But I am just a man," he said. "A man who lost his sister, a man who decided that he would do anything to protect the people he loves. That is all. That is the great secret of the Iron Ghosts. We are not stronger than you. We are not faster or smarter. We just refuse to give up. No matter how much it hurts. No matter how tired we get. No matter how many times we fall down." He looked directly into his silver eyes. "We get back up every single time. We get back up." Felt tears running down her face. She had not cried since she was a child. She had been trained to control her emotions, to be cold and hard like the armor she wore. But right now, looking at this broken young man who had lost everything and was still fighting, she could not stop the tears. Her plasma blade lay on the ground beside her. She could reach it. She could pick it up and kill him right now. He was too tired to stop her. She would be a hero to her people. She would be the warrior who killed the Iron Ghost. But she could not move. She could not make her hand reach for the weapon. because for the first time in her life understood something. She understood that she had been wrong. Her entire life she had been wrong. She had thought that strength meant power. She had thought that being a great warrior meant killing more enemies than anyone else. She had thought that the way, conquer, destroy, control, was the only way. But Ho had shown her a different kind of strength. A strength that came not from muscles or weapons, but from something inside. Something that could not be broken by pain or defeat or loss. He had shown her the strength of the human heart. And she had no idea what to do with that knowledge. The tears kept falling from silver eyes. She did not try to stop them. She did not have the strength to pretend anymore. Ho watched her cry. He did not move toward her or away from her. He just stood there waiting. Somewhere behind them the soldiers were whispering to each other. They had never seen their commander like this. They did not know what to do. "I do not understand," finally said. Her voice was rough and broken. "I do not understand you. I do not understand any of this." "What do you not understand?" Ho asked. There was no anger in his voice, no judgment, just a simple question. Struggled to put her thoughts into words. Everything she had believed was crumbling inside her mind. It was like watching a great building fall down, one brick at a time. "You should hate me," she said. "I have killed thousands of your people. I have burned your cities. I have done terrible things. And your sister died because of people like me. You should want revenge. You should want to make me suffer." Ho nodded slowly. "You are right, I should." "Then why did you not kill me when you had the chance? Why did you show me your face? Why did you tell me about?" Ho was quiet for a moment. He seemed to be thinking about how to answer. "When died," he said slowly, "I was angry. I was so angry that I could not see anything else. I wanted to hurt everyone who had hurt me. I wanted to burn the whole galaxy down. I trained harder than anyone else because I wanted to become a weapon. I wanted to become death itself." He sat back down on the rock. His body was shaking slightly, and realized he was using all his remaining strength just to stay conscious. "For 2 years I fought like a monster. I killed without mercy. I did not care about anything except destroying my enemies. I thought that was strength. I thought that was how would want me to honor her memory." "What changed?" asked. Ho reached into a pocket of his suit and pulled out something small. He held it up so could see. It was a piece of paper, old and worn and folded many times. On the paper was a drawing made with colored pencils. The drawing showed 2 people holding hands, a boy and a girl, standing in a field of flowers under a bright yellow sun. "I found this in my pocket one day," Ho said. His voice was barely a whisper now. "Must have put it there before the attack. I had been carrying it for 2 years without knowing, and when I saw it, I remembered something important." He looked at the drawing with soft eyes full of love and loss. Did not draw pictures of war. She did not draw pictures of weapons or soldiers or death. She drew pictures of happiness, of peace, of a world where people could hold hands and look at flowers. That was the world she wanted to live in. That was the world she believed could exist. He carefully folded the paper and put it back in his pocket. "I realized that if I kept fighting like a monster, I would lose her completely. Not just her body, but everything she was, everything she believed in. I would become the thing she would have been most afraid of." Listened in silence. Each word hit her like a physical blow. "So I made a choice," Ho continued. "I decided to fight differently. I would still fight to protect people. I would still be a soldier, but I would not become a monster. I would not lose my humanity even in the worst moments of war. Because that humanity, that ability to love, to hope, to believe in something better, that is what makes us who we are. If we lose that, then we have already lost the war, even if we win every battle." Thought about her own life. She thought about all the battles she had won, all the planets she had conquered, all the enemies she had killed. She had medals and honors and titles that most could only dream of. She was considered one of the greatest warriors in the history of her people. But she had never thought about why she fought. She had never questioned the orders she was given. She had simply followed them because that was what warriors did. Kill, conquer, expand the empire. That was all she knew. "How do you do it?" she asked. Her voice was small now, like a child asking a question. "How do you keep fighting when you know you might die? When you know you are weaker and smaller than your enemy? When you have already lost so much?" Ho smiled. It was a real smile this time, not sad or tired, just warm. "That is the question, is it not?" he said. "That is the question your people have been trying to answer since this war began." He leaned forward and looked directly into her eyes. "The answer is simple. We fight because we have to, not because someone orders us to, not because we want glory or power, but because there are people behind us who cannot fight. Children, old people, families, people who just want to live their lives in peace." He pointed to his chest, to the place where his heart was beating. Every human soldier carries those people with them, here, in their hearts. When we are tired, we think of them. When we are scared, we think of them. When we want to give up, we think of them. They give us strength that has nothing to do with muscles or weapons. Thought about the soldiers who served under her. Did they fight for something? Did they have families and loved ones that they wanted to protect? She realized with shame that she had never asked. She had never thought of them as anything more than tools for war. "But what about when you face an enemy you cannot beat?" she asked. "What about when the odds are impossible? Your ships are slower than ours. Your weapons are weaker. Your bodies break easier. By every measure, you should have lost this war in the first month." "Yes," Ho agreed. "By every measure we should have. But there is one thing that cannot be measured, one thing that does not show up in your calculations." "What?" "Hope." The word hung in the air between them, such a simple word, such a small word, but it seemed to carry the weight of the entire universe. "Humans are very good at hope," Ho said. "Even when things are bad, we believe they can get better. Even when we are losing, we believe we can find a way to win. Even when we are dying, we believe that our sacrifice means something. That belief gives us power that your scanners cannot see." He stood up again, slowly and painfully. He walked over to and looked down at her. Then, to her complete shock, he held out his hand. "I am going to help you stand up now," he said. "Your injuries need treatment. My people have doctors who can help you." Stared at his hand, the hand of her enemy, the hand that had killed her soldiers just an hour ago. "Why," she whispered, "why would you help me?" Ho's eyes were gentle. There was no hatred in them, no anger, just a deep, tired kindness. "Because this war has gone on long enough," he said. "Because too many people have died. Because somewhere out there, there are probably children drawing pictures of flowers and hopping for a better future. And if we keep killing each other, none of those futures will ever happen." He kept his hand extended toward her. "You ask me what I fight for. I fight for the possibility that someday, humans and will not have to fight anymore. I fight for the possibility that your children and my children will live in a galaxy where they do not have to be afraid. I fight for peace." Looked at his hand, then she looked at his face, then she looked back at his hand. Everything she had been taught said she should refuse. She should spit on him. She should wait for her strength to return and then kill him when he was not expecting it. That was the way. That was what a true warrior would do. But Ho had shown her something new, a different way, a way that did not end with death and pain and more war. She reached out and took his hand. Ho's hand was warm, had expected it to be cold like his armor, but it was warm and rough with scars and calluses. It was a hand that had worked hard, a hand that had suffered, a hand that had learned to be gentle after being a weapon. He helped her stand. Her body screamed with pain, but she did not cry out. She was still a warrior after all. She still had her pride. "Commander," came running from the hill, his weapon raised. The other soldiers followed behind him. "Commander, step away from the human. We will kill him." "No," His voice was strong enough to stop them all in their tracks. "Put down your weapons." Looked confused and scared. "But Commander, he is the enemy. He killed our brothers and sisters. I said put down your weapons." The authority in her voice was absolute. The soldiers hesitated for a moment, then slowly lowered their guns. They did not understand what was happening. Their commander, the great of House Korras, was standing beside their worst enemy and ordering them not to fight. Looked at her soldiers. She saw their fear, their anger, their confusion. A few hours ago, she had felt the same things. She had wanted nothing more than to destroy this human and prove the superiority of the race. But everything had changed. She had changed. "This war is wrong," she said. The words felt strange coming out of her mouth, but they also felt true. "I have served the Empire for 100 years. I have conquered 12 worlds. I have killed enemies without number, and until today I never questioned any of it." She took a deep breath. Her ribs hurt, but she kept talking. "Today this human showed me something. He showed me what it means to truly fight, not for power, not for glory, not for empire, but for love, for hope, for the chance to build a better future." She looked at Ho. He was barely standing now. The effort of helping her up had used the last of his strength. His body was swaying like a tree in a strong wind, but his eyes were still open, still watching, still trusting her. That trust meant more to her than all the medals she had ever won. "I am not asking you to understand," she said to her soldiers. "I am not asking you to agree. I am asking you to think. Think about why we fight. Think about what we are trying to achieve. Think about whether there might be a better way." Shook his head. "Commander, if the High Council learns of this, they will execute you for treason. They will execute all of us." "Perhaps," admitted, "but I would rather die fighting for something right than live fighting for something wrong." She turned to face Ho fully. The red sun was setting behind him now, painting the sky in colors of fire and blood. But somehow it looked beautiful to her, like the end of one thing and the beginning of another. "I cannot undo what I have done," she said. "I cannot bring back the people I have killed. I cannot give you back your sister. All I can do is make a choice about what happens next." She reached down and picked up her plasma blade from the ground. Ho did not flinch. He did not move. He just watched her with those tired, trusting eyes. Looked at the weapon in her hand. She had carried this blade for 60 years. She had killed more enemies with it than she could count. It was a part of her identity, a symbol of everything she had been. She drove it into the ground at Ho's feet. Then she stepped back and lowered herself to one knee. A gasp came from the soldiers. Kneeling was the highest form of respect in their culture. It was something warriors only did for their most honored leaders. For to kneel before a human, before an enemy, was something that had never happened in the history of the Empire. "I of House Korras lay down my weapons," she said. Her voice was clear and strong. "I do not surrender to Earth or to humanity. I kneel before Ho of the Iron Ghosts, not as a prisoner but as an equal. I kneel in recognition of his strength, his honor, and his humanity." She looked up at him. "I cannot promise that my people will listen to me. I cannot promise that this war will end today. But I can promise this. From this moment forward, I will no longer fight against humans. Instead, I will fight for peace. I will fight for the future that your sister wanted. I will fight for flowers and sunshine and children holding hands." Tears were flowing down her face again, but she did not try to hide them. "I will fight for hope." Ho looked at her for a long moment. Then slowly, painfully, he lowered himself down until he was kneeling as well. They faced each other, eye to eye, warrior to warrior. "Thank you," he said softly. "That is all I ever wanted, not your surrender, not your defeat, just a chance to believe that things can be different." He reached out and took her hand in his. "From this moment forward, we are not enemies. We are not friends either, not yet, but we are something. We are the beginning of something new." Behind them and the other soldiers watched in stunned silence. Some of them were angry, some of them were confused, but a few of them, just a few, had tears in their eyes too. Something was changing inside them. A seed had been planted. That seed would grow. In the years that followed, the galaxy would remember this day. They would tell stories about the Battle of Seven, about the Iron Ghost who showed mercy to his enemy, about the commander who chose peace over war. The war did not end immediately. These things never do. There were more battles, more deaths, more pain on both sides. The High Council of the Empire declared a traitor and sent assassins to kill her. She survived every attempt. Ho fought beside her, protecting her as she had once tried to destroy him. But slowly, things began to change. Other herds message. They began to question the endless conquest. They began to wonder if there might be a better way. And humans, seeing that not all were monsters, began to believe that peace might actually be possible. It took 10 more years, but eventually the war ended. A treaty was signed. Borders were drawn. Prisoners were returned. And for the first time in history, humans began to learn how to live together. Became the first ambassador to Earth. She spent the rest of her long life building bridges between the two peoples. She never forgot what Ho had taught her on that bloody battlefield. She never forgot the young man with the tired eyes who had shown her a different kind of strength. Ho lived to see the peace he had fought for. He retired from the military and became a teacher, training the next generation not in war but in understanding. In his classroom, humans sat side by side, learning together. He kept his sister's drawing until the day he died. And when his time came, he went peacefully, surrounded by friends and family, knowing that he had kept his promise. He had protected the people behind him. He had given them a future. And somewhere in a place beyond pain and loss and war, a little girl with a love for flowers and sunshine smiled down at her brother. She was proud of him. She had always known he would find a way.